Welcome to Namecast. Kevin, if there's one thing that you can count on, Namecast will always be there. Even if we have no other videos up on the channel in the past couple days, Namecast will always be there, folks.
It's true.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Namecast, our podcast where we talk about a lot of things, but mainly we focus on a specific indie game each and every single week, Kev.
Yeah.
And this week, what do we got?
To the moon.
To the moon. Now, I didn't do introductions right, but my name is Nathan, and beside me is
Kevin.
And we're going to be talking about To the Moon. It's an emotional indie game from Freebird Games. And next week, if you want to, be up with us and down with things and join in on the conversation, basically, we will be playing The Banner Saga.
Yeah.
Very excited about this one. But anyway, we got a lot of news to talk about, too, because I don't know if you knew this, but I think last week was the E-Tray. Is that how they say that in French? Tray?
They say instead of E. It's great. Is what they say.
Are you going to the So we have some Sony and Nintendo news. We got the Mario Rabbids E3 stuff. We got some Blizzard job postings causing rumors. Rumors that I think you're very excited
about. A few
exciting
rumors.
Yeah. We got Iowa Interactive is now fully independent, and the summer sale season is starting up. It's upon us.
It is.
You can look out and see the summariness.
Yeah.
Now, in the vein of summariness, the times they are changing as we hurtle on this rock through space. Okay, and as time continues in this motion, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I figured that's what you're trying to get to somehow.
What's new, man?
Man, there's some new stuff. It's been a big week for me.
Okay,
an unexpectedly big week because I expected this next week to be the big one, but no, it was this week because I got a camera.
Ooh.
A fucking legitimate camera. So for those of you who have seen our videos where we do like our faces and stuff, that's filmed on like what was it, like $300
and we got a
camcorder
deal,
thing. It's an okay camera, but I don't know. I've been getting real into the cinematography side of things, and I wanted a camera that I could actually do things with.
Yeah.
So I ordered myself a Sony A6300, which is a fantastic camera.
It's a beast.
Yeah, it does 4K video.
Yeah.
It has amazing low light performance. Lots of super neat features. The 4K video that it has is actually 6K downscaled to 4K, which is mind blowing. And I am super impressed with it so far, and I don't even have anything other than the kit lens. I have a real lens on the way.
And that thing's going to be sweet.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane to play with. And yeah, I'm super excited for stuff I'll be able to do with it. But it's been a learning curve.
Yeah.
Oh my. So what I've been doing is, unfortunately, it's been like kind of overcast, blowout weather since I've gotten it. But for the couple days I've had it, like I've taken it out when walking home from work and just like getting a few shots and just practicing taking those shots. Taking them home, bringing them into Premiere and color correcting them and color grading them, trying to get them to look nice and, playing around with the footage I can get from it. But, like, when I go to record something, it's really hard for me to remember all the different things I need to do.
Okay.
So, first of all, there's, like, playing with exposure, which is, like, kind of balancing a couple different settings and, you know, maybe putting some filters on the front of your lens to darken things down a whole bunch and, like, doing what you want to do with that. So, like, that's been, like, engrossing my whole mind. I've kind of been forgetting that I have a polarizer filter on the front. So what that does is it's just like polarized sunglasses. It like gets rid of reflections and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But incidentally also makes the sky kind of really blue and like have its colors stand out like it would to your eyes.
Okay.
But like I always forget about that because my mind's so wrapped up in the exposure stuff. And, on top of that, like I've been like trying to find good framing for shots, but like it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of things to practice, and yeah, it's been fun for sure.
Because for right now, you're just basically working on not really landscapes, but kinda, buildings and alleyways, type things.
It's kind of what I'm more interested in. Is some really nice landscapey type shots. Because I feel like we have a lot of practice with interview-esque shots already.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the channel consisted of for the longest time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a fun little learning experience.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've played a few games. One thing I've been forgetting to talk about.
I was honestly about to call you out on it, and I had it all planned out, but whatever.
You can continue.
Well, listen, Kev. I hear there's the Tuna and Shellbo are going on some adventures. Some Halo adventure. I don't know what people do in Halo. I really didn't plan much out. That's all I was gonna do. I was just gonna yell at you.
Fair enough.
What have you been playing?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this a good while ago. I started playing Halo 5 campaign a long time ago with Shelby, and that was like
Shelby from Bonus Barrel?
From Bonus Barrel, yeah. It was something we just did every week. I continued on. We beat Halo 5, and oh my fucking god, the ending to that game.
Good? Bad?
So bad.
Oh, that bad.
So, open-ended, answers no questions, resolves absolutely nothing, and it's just bullshit. Cortana's going fucking crazy. Oh my god.
I thought Cortana died in Halo 4. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
no?
You're right.
Okay. I thought so, yeah.
I don't know. She ended up existing in some universe-wide mainframe thing built by Forerunners, and then came back into existence. And yeah,
it's a whole
Halo 5 is quite the story to it. And then we did Legendary too, so we got the bonus Legendary ending.
Nice.
And all that is it shows a camera panning away from a Halo ring.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But that's cool. I don't know. I want to go back to a Halo ring because that fucking visual of the skybox with the Halo ring kind of going up in the sky.
It's really cool.
It's awesome, and I want to see more of that.
Okay.
And
so now, are you guys playing through any more Halos, or is it?
Yeah. So we beat Halo 5, and then we started moving on to Halo 3 ODST.
Okay. Yeah.
Which has been pretty fun, but honestly, that's what we were originally planning to play, but I couldn't get my 360 set up, and her brother, who we were also playing with sometimes, couldn't get his doesn't have a 360. So we were like, so I guess maybe we can do the backwards compatible thing through the Xbox One, but that's only through the Microsoft collection, which Shelby didn't have at the time.
Gotcha.
So we played Halo 5 instead, but then Shelby got the Microsoft or Master Chief Collection, sorry.
Yeah.
And so we're playing this remake that's 1080p, 60 FPS, and oh my god, does it have some issues.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Master Chief Collection is kind of notorious for issues, but oh my god, I cannot believe they actually released
that bad.
This port. There's sometimes so we were in one kind of stage where there's these invisible brutes. Okay. That are throwing spike grenades, and there's other enemies throwing firebomb grenades. And I think all the effects and stuff going on brought the game down to 3 FPS or something like that.
How is that acceptable?
I know, it was insane to see that on a console game. And there was another point too. There's some super weird things. Shelby was on a ghost, and she slid into me, but kind of turned. So I ended up going into the side of her vehicle. Okay. And both our games locked up.
Fuck.
And eventually
really?
Eventually it kind of came back in super slow FPS until she could get her ghost away from me.
Wow.
But yeah, super freaking weird. And it's funny too because the Halo 3 port actually has some pretty great performance. Yeah. But the ODST one, even though they're based on the same engine, has these huge issues. Wow. Which is a pain because ODST is actually a really cool game because you're a weak ODST and you feel weaker, you feel smaller.
What's an ODST?
So instead of being a superhuman Spartan, it's just a highly trained soldier. Okay. ODST stands for Orbital Drop Shock Trooper. So they're the ones that would get dropped from space in behind enemy lines.
Bunch of pussies.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and the story to it's super cool because you're in this kind of dark city that's being taken over by the Covenant, and you're all alone, and you kind of go through, find out what all your teammates went through during this day where you were passed out because your drop ship crashed. Okay. And yeah, it's a super awesome game, but unfortunately, a little bit of a pain.
Yeah.
On that. But anyway, so we went to play it last week, and we couldn't play it at all.
It just wouldn't work.
It just would not start up an ODST campaign for us.
Oh my god.
This is what Master Chief Collection's like freaking known for, is just these fucking weird things. So what we did instead is we went and played Halo 1, worked fine.
Yeah.
Then her brother came on later, and he could only do 2-player for Halo 1, so we moved over to Halo 3, worked fine.
Oh my
gosh. It's
gosh.
like, well, let's try ODST. Nope.
Nothing.
Just the entire night, it would not work.
That's super frustrating.
Yeah, it was weird, but I don't know. Playing Halo 1 was super fun. Playing Halo 3 is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I love that game so much.
Halo 3 is really good.
Yeah, honestly,
it's probably the best of them, hey?
It's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. It's hard to say campaign-wise. I think Halo 1 had like the most cool campaign.
Yeah.
Halo 3 campaign certainly has its annoyances, but I don't know. I really like it, and it's really hard for me to detach my nostalgia
Right.
and bias just
Plus,
from
it had
being a
that
game I played so
dope-ass
much.
hype trailer before it came out where, oh man,
Yeah,
that was so good.
many cool trailers,
Yeah.
and I think it has my favorite soundtrack as well. So.
Okay.
Although ODST soundtrack's super good too, with a little bit of jazz, piano, like
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
yeah, so nice. Anyways, those have been my Halo adventures.
Shit.
Other than that, I played To the Moon.
To the Moon, which we'll be talking
And-
about this episode.
Yep, and I think I played something else, but I can't recall.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
No.
Okay, that
Oh,
was a
I
wild guess.
started writing first Persona script, so
Ah.
we might see that in a month and a half from now, probably.
Yeah, it's a big game.
It's
Big game, a lot of things.
A lot of
Let's get
things.
it out of the way
Yeah.
too. Why was there no Dark Souls video?
Oh, that's the other game
Yep.
I played. Oh boy.
So,
So we recorded the next little video. So if you guys don't remember or didn't see, the last point we were at was trying to take down Ornstein and Smo.
yeah.
So we recorded some videos, and I don't know, I was playing super well that day or something.
You were crushing it.
And I don't know, we
blasted
were both
through
on
Ornstein and
point.
Smo.
like-
I think we had some funny jokes going on. We
Yeah.
then did a bunch of other areas. We got things together. Adolf was looking good.
yeah.
And then you go to edit the I'm not even going to say video.
Because I couldn't find the video file. And then I had a flashback to in between recording sessions and being like, that was really easy to stop and restart a new recording. And it turns out we just completely forgot to actually record the gameplay footage. We just recorded our own audios. So like we could have done like a podcast version without any game sound.
That would have
but-
been so lame. Just so much silence and like button clacking.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
that was kind of problematic because of course our character was now very far ahead of stuff that we did not have content showing.
Yeah. And we don't want to. The Ornstein and Smo fight is such a pivotal fight that, like,
Yeah.
you gotta show beating that fight,
Yeah, so like, yeah, especially like, given that like it's a mod that makes random items,
Yeah.
you would think that would be absolutely catastrophic. But thankfully, how the mod works is whenever you set the mod up, it has a random seed to it, and every character you play, with how you set that mod up, it will get the exact same items in the exact same spots.
Which is great.
Thankfully, it works that way because we were able to make another character.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll record again this week, and hopefully
Reveal the new character.
yeah, hopefully that'll be Friday.
Yep.
Maybe Saturday, depending on when we record. And
Yeah, we'll
time
try our
to
best to
edit
get
it
it
and
in a
stuff.
timely manner. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll try and make that happen. Sorry about that, guys. But we figured no video is better than a crappy video.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, this weekend I played a character all the way through all the Dark Souls that we played through previously.
Yeah, got
doing all
caught
the
up.
exact same stuff and picking up all the exact same items.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah.
Woo! Party!
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I've been biking a lot. I'm going on I'm very nervous about it.
Ooh.
I'm going on an intense trek tomorrow. It's not even that far. We're only going 60 kilometers. But the guy I'm going with has been the coach of the Canada Games cycling team for like 5 years.
Oh, so he can probably spin the pedals.
He's pretty good. Yeah, so I'm a little nervous about that, but I don't know. I stocked up on all my energy bars, and we'll see how I do. He shot me a message. He's like, I hope I can keep up to you. And I'm like, ha. Oh, God. Yeah, he was also a semi-pro cyclist just 3 years ago and just retired just for the sake of retiring. So,
Nice.
he's my good buddy, though, so I'm sure it'll go fine. Other than that, what else have I been up to? So I've been working on the script of another video as well. I had hoped that I'd been able to get something out for Friday. That's not the case. It's going to be really cool. I don't want to give too much away, but it's like the most convoluted story in video games I've ever delved into, and I'm going to kind of explain the whole franchise to people, to those who are like, okay, I think the game is cool, but like, what the fuck is going on with this story?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking anime games, man. They got the crazy stories.
They do.
We're both working on anime game videos, actually. That's, interesting.
Yeah. True.
What are you going to do, eh? What else is new? Okay, I'm only bringing it up in the podcast just so you know kind of where I'm coming at with regards to the game and how it could affect my emotions in a different way. Broke up with my girlfriend the other day. It was weird. Literally yesterday. Oh, man, aren't those the worst?
Yeah.
It's like the moral situation of like, she's not doing anything wrong, but I think this has to happen.
I still need to break her heart anyway.
Yeah, and then you just feel
terrible.
like a terrible person. So anyway, so that's kind of how I'm going into the game. Not going to get too deep into it because who wants to hear about that crap? But anyway, so that's where I'm coming down there. I haven't played any games other than To the Moon. And other than that, I think that's it. Let's get into the news, Kev.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got? We missed last week Sony and Nintendo conferences.
Yeah.
So what did we miss? What was going on there?
Well, should we just start off in order with Sony's pre-conference stuff that I didn't even see until long after the conference?
Yeah,
and people
exactly.
were like, hey, Sony announced super cool stuff before the conference and didn't show it in the conference.
Which is such a weird decision.
I know.
Because they're like, we want to hit an hour time limit. And like, I can respect them wanting to have a nice, tight show that has a lot of shit in it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why don't you show games that are coming out this year as well in your legit conference? Because then people like you will be like, they don't have anything coming out this year.
Yeah.
Which, that's a fair assumption to make.
And it was like, Microsoft conference was an hour and 45 minutes, and I didn't really feel like it dragged on.
No.
And I was like almost twice as long as Sony's.
And
like
they even
Sony's
revealed the
felt
fucking
short.
car.
They revealed a car and like all the Xbox One stuff. Like that part itself dragged on a little, but like, you know, there's so much cool stuff there, and Sony is like they could have showed more cool stuff. Yeah. But they didn't. Some of that being obviously Crash Bandicoot. It's looking all right.
It looks really good. Are you kidding me? It looks amazing. And what I think they're doing is I actually think for the original Crash, they're using the Japanese version of Crash Bandicoot 1 because if we remember, because we all remember this,
of course.
Crash Bandicoot 1 was extremely difficult in North America.
Yeah.
And our Lord and Savior, Shuhei Yoshida, was producer on the team, and also Mark Cerny, PlayStation Wonderkin. And anyway, they realized that the game was way too fucking hard when it actually got out in the wild. So in the Japanese version, which they had another 3 months to tune up a little bit, they made it a little bit easier for younger audiences. So I think we're getting that version of it.
Yeah. Did you hear about this Hidden Agenda game?
Yeah, from Supermassive. That's what is it? It's a VR game, right? Or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know what this is.
It's a interactive movie. It's super interesting. So you and your friends are supposed to connect your phones to it, kind of a Jackbox party style.
Okay.
And I think you like vote or something, like, or there's like different players do different things to make decisions in the story that's being told.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool about that? That is the studio that made Until Dawn.
Yeah.
So
it's probably a pretty good story.
I expect this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and super interesting gameplay, and Sony just kind of shoved it off to the side.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now, what's Matterfall? What is this?
I don't know. Twin stick shooter. Side scroller.
By
Housemarque?
Yes, Housemarque is fantastic. They made Resogun, they made Shatter, they made a bunch of great games. Now we also have Everybody's Golf. Now if you're an OG motherfucker like myself, you call that shit Hot Shots Golf.
Is that what it is?
Yes. It's just Hot Shots Golf rebranded, basically. Now, what's interesting about it is you can play online with friends and that you can be in the whole 9 courses and you can just traverse the 9 courses as you're going kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's not just
kind of more like
hit
golf.
it, loading. Exactly. Yeah. It has more of the golf kind of feel to it. Now, something that, you'd expect. I was amazed that it wasn't actually in the E3 show, but Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah.
It's coming out, hopefully. in Q4 of 2017.
Yeah. Super Hot VR for PSVR is super cool.
Because it is the coolest looking VR game.
From what I've heard, it's like so many people's favorite VR game.
It fits it so well.
Yeah.
And it looks like it just transforms everything about that game. Because if you don't know what Super Hot is, the world only moves when you move.
Yeah, which is one thing when you're playing playing the PC game because, like,
Yeah.
obviously moving is very purposeful clicking of WASD. But in VR,
Yes.
moving is a very big part of VR.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're
So-
moving all around. You're moving your hands. You're moving your head. You're moving.
Yeah.
Moving all about. And I guess I wasn't totally clear. It's a first-person shooter.
First-person shooter,
Per
but like,
se.
yeah, time's frozen unless you're moving. So
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
super interesting stuff.
And like, you don't need to shoot. You can just throw a gun at someone or stab them. You know, or
Yeah.
that you could block bullets with your gun, and it's really cool.
Yeah, super awesome.
Yeah, super
hot.
awesome. We then have Tropico 6. Yeah, another Tropico game. Cool.
Yeah.
Undertale is coming to the PS4 and the PlayStation motherfucking Vita.
Everybody's pumped that it's coming to the Vita.
You're goddamn right. We're
People
pumped.
are like, oh my god, the Vita's not forgotten.
It's lost but not forgotten, Kev. We then started off the E3 conference with Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and it also had the lost audio files. 'Cause
Yeah.
you could hear it in the conference.
No, you can kind of hear echoes of the voices.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Yeah. So anyway, looks really cool. It looks like Naughty Dog wanted to do a small piece of DLC, and they're like, "Shit, this is cool." So then they're kind of amping it up to a almost like a half Uncharted,
Yeah,
which is sweet because the Uncharted 4 engine is fantastic. So
yeah, it's interesting. Kind of like a little expansion,
yeah,
right?
I don't think you're ever gonna play it because that's not your type of game.
Nah,
but-
not really.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll play it, but I like that it's a thing.
Yeah.
And then we also have. Pretty far off from your prediction of there being a new Horizon game
Do you know what?
announced.
It's funny. I completely forgot DLC existed.
Yeah.
For one podcast, I was in the most innocent bubble of a world where DLC wasn't a thing.
I was like, why would they announce a new game?
And then the Sony conference happened and just shattered
like-
my bubble.
Right. Oh, yeah, DLC.
Yeah. That makes sense though.
It makes way more sense because it only came out in February. It's currently June. So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, which, you know, whatever. More game that people like is good. So now we have Days Gone. Now we're kind of polarized on this one. You really don't like what you're seeing.
No, I'm super sick of zombies. I was never really into
They're
zombie
called
games.
freakers, Kev.
No, it's even worse when they're not calling them zombies. Like, oh my god. And then yeah, so like I'm not a big fan of zombies, but like it's been so freaking done.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it in this freaking Last of Us style of a game. And like it's funny, I saw so many comments online. It's like if they did not say that this is Days Gone before the trailer, I would have thought it's Last of Us.
Oh, really?
Because it looks the exact same. Like it's the exact same format of a game doing the zombie thing again. Again, not called zombies.
Yeah, no, I think I don't think that's as right as people think it is because the two games themselves are going to play very differently. If anything, this will play much more like a Horizon, from what I understand. So it's a big open world where you're capturing outposts and things, and you're setting up things and making them happen. Whereas Last of Us is a very linear experience. So
The impression I got is that the story for this is very linear.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, though, it does follow more of a Horizon path where you can kind of take it like a Ubisoft game, right? Like a Far Cry or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested in it. I like to see what's going on. I have a lot of faith in Sony Bend. They made an Uncharted game on the Vita, Golden Abyss. It was actually pretty good. Didn't like the touch controls, but it was a fine game. And they also used to make the Siphon Filter games back in the day.
Yeah. There was something in this game that I don't know how I feel about it. Do you remember the part where it's like, was it a bike off to the side of the road or something? And he went and like investigated it, and then did the fucking Batman. Oh, he went this way.
Yeah.
I have like superhuman.
He was using his
vision stuff.
motorcycle club senses.
I know. It's like, why the fuck is this in this game? Like,
Yeah.
this guy's not superhuman as far as I can tell.
Total random aside, I didn't know they offered these courses in our province, but my buddy has become part of the search and rescue team on the island, and he unfortunately missed the course for human tracking. How fucking badass is that?
That's kinda
Because-
cool.
Yeah, he's like, I really want to be a specialist in it because then you show up at a situation where someone's missing, you'd be like, you went this way. You're like smelling the dirt, like you're licking a bush or something. I just love the idea of that. And speaking of hunting and tracking things down, we got Monster Hunter World now.
Pretty
This
cool.
looks cool. This looks very cool.
Yeah,
as far as a
it's-
graphical overhaul, it's massive for the Monster Hunter games.
Yeah, well, one thing the Monster Hunter games have been doing is because they are such big games, they've been keeping them to lower graphical power platforms.
Yeah, so they'd go on like the DS and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it lets them create these giant worlds with lots of different stuff. But it's kind of cool that they're going like super HD and apparently Q1 2018. Wow.
Oh, it's coming out on Windows? Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it's coming out on Windows, Xbox One as well.
Nice.
And yeah, I find it interesting it's not on the Switch, given how big Monster Hunter is on Nintendo platforms.
Could it run it?
Sure, it could do lower resolution or something.
Probably.
It could be made to run it some way.
That's weird, because I feel like a game like this would be great to have on the fly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it looks weird to someone who doesn't know Monster Hunter, which I'm not going to act like I'm a Monster Hunter aficionado or anything, but, like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. Now, something they really dropped on us was Shadow of the Colossus. And this isn't just a remaster or anything. This is a full ground-up remake, even retouching the controls and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now, while these are beloved games, who cares? Kind of, because there are millions of people who haven't even heard of these games. Like they came out back in the this game came out back in the PS2 era. You know what I mean? And it's just like so many people haven't heard about it, and there was kind of a bad taste left in your mouth from The Last Guardian. So who's gonna pick this up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Think
it's
it looks
weird.
Sweet.
It's a super amazing game, and I'm happy that it is getting a HD remake. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, and I kind of agree with a big complaint that I saw online is that they're very much making it look like one of those fan-made Ocarina of Times and Unreal Engine 4 type thing. They're going for that graphical style, which we'll see how it pans out once we can see more of the game, but the trailer definitely made it look that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is nice to see it done with definitely modern art styles. Like, what I heard from interviews is that they want it to look like it's a game that came out that year.
Yeah.
They don't want it to look like a remake or anything like that. So, I don't know. That's interesting, definitely. We then have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It looks sweet.
Yeah.
I can fuck with it. I don't play fighting games, but...
And the other thing with fighting games, too, is like... I guess we were really excited for Dragon Ball, but that's because it's brand new. But especially for these like fighting game sequels, it's like we'll see if it's good when it comes out. Because you can't tell without playing these games a lot whether they're good or not.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you can't tell at all. It's like if the moveset looks cool, that's great, but that's going to get old fast.
Yeah, it's like if they announce these new cool things that like is unique to this game, it's really hard to tell how that mechanic interacts with the rest of the game without
it's out in the wild.
Actually doing it. Yeah.
We then have Call of Duty World War II. Okay, yeah, guns, shooting, it's crazy. The fucking game that won't go away.
Skyrim, sticking around.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of this game. I'm sick of it.
What's it going to be on next year? We need a prediction already.
Potato. I don't know.
Skyrim for your potato.
It's probably going to come to mobile devices eventually, I would assume. In some capacity.
Probably.
Like, it has to, yeah. They're just putting that to fucking everything. Anyway, it's in VR, sweet, cool.
They also said they haven't even started working on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, I know, which is just
so
like,
obviously there's going to be more Skyrim shit.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Star Child VR, I don't remember that one.
I know. The VR section that they did here was kind of... And there was this inpatient thing that lasted for a long time, and I think it's a horror experience.
Yeah.
But I'm not into that. Holy fuck, this Final Fantasy trailer.
The music for it was ridiculous. It was so over the top. It was so Japan. It was just fishing.
I know, and like, they're just fishing. I don't know, the coolest looking part of the game is just eating fish with your friends.
Yeah, man, and it's just like this intense ass guitar solo going on. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yep.
And then next we have Bravo Team. Who's developing this here? Can you open this up?
Supermassive.
It's Supermassive as well. Yeah, so they really have them diving kind of into this stuff. Looks cool. Looks interesting. I don't know. We'll see when we actually see it.
Yeah. Another VR thing.
Yeah. So then we got God of War.
This trailer looked cool.
Really cool.
There's a lot of really neat visuals and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like the combat, or we're seeing a lot more of the combat than we saw a year ago.
Yeah.
Because, it looks more God of War-like, where he throws the axe and then it comes back to him, kind of like Mjolnir with Thor, right?
Yeah.
Where he can summon it back. And, it looks cool. It looks like we're actually getting more of a story going on here than we've gotten before.
And we talked about this a little bit earlier, because I saw a video that was actually by That Gaming Brit Show, I think is what his YouTube channel is.
Okay.
Last year, and he was complaining that this God of War 4 is a really shit sequel because doesn't use the mechanics of the previous games. And I thought that was a really interesting viewpoint. It's like, when you're looking at a game sequel, you should consider the fact that it's a game, not a story.
Right.
Right. And therefore the mechanics should be represented. Whereas in this new one, they really aren't representing the mechanics.
No, and I can understand that because it had the old combat style of like your Prince of Persia kind of games where it's kind of not top down, but top down off to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can do your flip over the top attacks and everything like that. Sure, that works for a while, but it kind of gets stale. Whereas this has more of a kind of tight behind the shoulder, almost like a Dark Souls feel. With regards to the combat, I don't think the combat's going to be Dark Souls-like in any way.
Yeah.
But like a Dark Souls Last of Us, kind of like close behind the shoulder.
It's very like Gears of War behind the shoulder, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Exactly. So...
God of War, Gears of War.
The crossover is happening. No, but I don't know. I think it's a good way to bring Kratos into a more modern era now.
Yeah.
I definitely can see how...
I think it's unfortunate for fans of hack and slash because, God of War is a really good entry point for other people into hack and slash genres without going like all the way to like Devil May Cry, which is like over the top and crazy and really complex.
Right.
God of War is a lot more approachable.
I can see how that's a valid criticism if the original games were tense, but they weren't. There was a lot that could be improved, and for me, the combat was a big aspect of that. Mm-hmm. So to see it like this, sure, it's in a sense a shitty sequel. But it looks better. So, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's abandoning things.
Combat looks worse to me, though.
Really? Oh, it looks much more interesting to me.
It's mostly just like
I never liked that top
things, and it's a little more Batman-like. I'm not a fan of that.
We'll see how it looks when it actually gets out.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of faith in Sony Santa Monica. They're involved in so many cool projects, and I don't know. They put out some good shit sometimes. Now, next thing we got is Detroit Become Human. This is the game coming out by Quantic Dream, which they're saying going to be like early 2018 bull fucking shit. I don't believe David Cage for a second.
Oh, yeah.
For a second. Anyway... Yeah, so, if you don't know the studio, they made Heavy Rain back in the day that everyone got their dicks hard for, and then they also came out with Beyond Two Souls, which is a very polarizing game.
Yeah.
I think it's a good game. I just think it was told in such a confusing manner. Now, if you haven't played it, the story jumps around back and forth, and it makes it very difficult to follow. So much so that they actually released a version of the story that comes out in chronological order, and I'm told it's better.
That's funny.
Yes. So anyway, the premise behind this one is that you can make many different choices, and it'll send you down many different paths, which is standard for a Quantic Dream game, but this looks really cool because it involves android uprising and stuff, and we don't see that in games much.
Yeah, so this showed a different character from the previous trailers.
Yep.
This one is an android who's bringing other androids into, becoming a rioter.
Into the
and
riots,
I think the trailer kind of implied you can either make it your like kind of peaceful protesters or like violent rioters or somewhere in between there, which I think is pretty interesting. But the story for this character for me seemed way lamer than what else they've shown, especially with like the
cop was really cool.
The cop who talked people through suicide and stuff. That seems freaking amazing deep storytelling. This looked super shallow and trope reliant.
See, I agree with that to a point, but it's one of those games where it's going to have like 5 different characters that you're playing as.
Yeah.
And through playing these games, I know that it's going to be, the web is going to get deeper and deeper as you're interacting with each other and doing things like that. So I don't know. I think it's going to intertwine, and I think they just wanted to show a segment involving one character, and the idea of the uprising. So I don't know. I don't think we should take the whole story at face value just from. It also
trailer. It didn't show the multiple choices of the game very well.
Yeah,
I kind of made it sound like it kind of explained that path well, but it was like this kind of quick graphics that were flying by,
and
at
that's
the
all
end.
Tossed up at the end.
Yeah, and like other than that, it looked like a pretty linear, pretty boring story.
Yeah,
frankly. So I didn't think it was like a really good showing of it, but I'm still kind of interested in the game. I don't think it really falls into my genre of games I like.
Yeah, which is unfortunate that they decided to go with that style, because if you're a fan of that company like myself, you'll know that like when it comes to player choice, I don't think anybody beats them. The amount of paths and options that you can go down in games, like spoilers for Heavy Rain, there is an ending where the main character kills himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many fucking endings to that game. There's like hundreds of just permutations of ways that things can happen, and like not in inconsequential ways, like in very, wow, you guys spend a lot of time making all this come together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I imagine they'll be on the same trend. I just hope it's a more engaging story than Beyond Two Souls was. Now, the next thing we got, which I honestly don't really care about, is Destiny 2.
Looks so much like Destiny 1, except the bad guys came to you this time. Oh.
Come to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Cool. We got Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
I was up on this. You weren't as up on it.
Yeah, I think I shared a lot of sentiment of a lot of worry about the QuickTime events that they showed off, and apparently they've attempted to ease that a bit. Like, it's just the big story segments and what they showed off. I don't like seeing QuickTime events in press showings like this. Like, it doesn't show the actual gameplay.
Right. And was it during the combat? Is that something that caught you as well? Because it was coming up with button prompts.
The combat, I don't know. The combat was hard to tell because the impression I got from the combat, which is kind of what I favor, is like, hey, it suggests you use this finisher move, but you can use your other things too.
Exactly.
That's kind of the impression I got, and if that's how it works, then I am fucking happy.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, you're specifically in this situation, so you can only use this specific finisher, then...
From what I hear from behind screen showings is that that's not the case at all, and the HUD that they tossed on was made up in a couple days, and they're like, fuck, we need some type of HUD for this game to show it off.
Kind of looked like it too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, fuck.
It didn't feel very Spider-Man-y to me.
Because they wanted people to believe that it was a real gameplay, right? And if it didn't have the HUD, then people would be like, oh, it's canned foot, whatever. Well, it is canned anyway, but you know what I mean.
Everything's scripted with these trailers.
Exactly. So what I think they were trying to do is they were trying to show off a big action set piece, like in the Uncharted, Uncharted 4, which was fucking awesome. You know, everything was coming down going like this. Well, I think they were trying to do that, but it did show some QuickTime heavy events. But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Insomniac. They're probably my favorite, one of my favorite studios. They've created my favorite franchise, which is Ratchet and Clank. So I don't know. I have complete faith.
I'm really curious what happens when you fail the QuickTime events.
Yeah. See, that would be interesting to see.
Because that was like a big comedy point in previous Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll do that again.
Yeah, because then, like, let's say if you do fail it and the crane starts falling down, maybe it starts tumbling more and there's a different path that you end up going down in that. Yeah. That would be interesting, at least.
Maybe
at least
you
there's
can
a consequence
completely goof
to
up and just belly flop into fire.
You never know sometimes. Anyway, next we have an adorable looking little game called Moss VR. Now, who's developing this here? We got, Oh, right. I was looking them up. They haven't done much else. Anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, we got Moss VR. It looks cool. It's kind of like Lucky's Tale. Wait, It's made by the Lucky's Tale guys. That's it, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Shit. Then I don't know. Okay, anyway, it's kind of like Lucky's Tale.
A little like platformer collectathon there?
Yep, but it's VR, so you can look in and see the little guy doing his things. Cool. And it looks cute. It looks sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the idea of an anthropomorphic mouse with a sword. Like, do you remember Redwall back in the day? Oh, yeah. Fuck. That shit was sweet.
I read too many of those books. Eventually I realized they're really bad, but...
They are really bad, but the premise is so cool.
Yeah.
It's just like... The idea of mice having their own world and just being like medieval with each other. It's fucking dope. Mm-hmm. So then we got Knack 2. I don't give a shit about that. We got Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Looks sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to play it. I tried to play Ni no Kuni 1. I just couldn't. I just don't think I could give the time into it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got a bunch of other stuff here. I don't know. Are you interested in Dauntless, Lego, blah, 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 Alto's Odyssey? We got Okay, Let's Be Heroes. Now, the only reason why I find this interesting is because it's made by Capybara Games. Now, if you checked out my awesome video I made a couple weeks back about Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery, that's the same studio. Now, they had to stop making that game in order to make this Cartoon Network tie-in game. I think they're making this game to pay the bills.
Fair enough.
We'll see if it actually is any good.
I like this little art style it's got going on here. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Very cartoony.
Now we're moving on to, and remember, I'm a Sony fanboy. I would say the winner of E3 this year, fucking Nintendo knocked it out of the goddamn park.
If you're not counting Devolver Digital, then yeah.
Yeah,
Nintendo
exactly.
had a very, very interesting showing.
Yeah, so Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looked dope.
Yeah.
Into it. A motherfucking Kirby game coming
man,
out.
it's like... Yeah. Dreamland 64 too. It's great.
Yeah, it looks sweet.
Or not Dreamland 64, Kirby 64.
Yeah.
Too. Like, yeah, it looks super awesome. Like, you can combine powers and shit. It's, yeah.
Crystal Shards, you mean?
Crystal Shards. That's what I mean.
Which is my favorite Kirby game.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks very similar to that, which is pretty damn sweet.
And then we have Pocket Tournament DX, so that's Pocket
Switch.
Tournament coming over to Switch.
Yeah.
Whatever.
This
Yo,
Pokemon,
motherfucker. Yo.
they're finally making a mainline Pokemon game on a console.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's going to be
It's
massive.
been asked for fucking years. And like they had pretty much no details of it. It was just like the, I don't know,
Game Freak guys are working on it, and it's
yeah,
coming out.
creative
Like,
director or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm working on this.
yeah.
Boom. That's
And
it.
Game Freak is pretty good at pumping out games too. So like, I have a feeling we'll probably see it next year.
I don't know. I don't know about next year.
You don't think so?
But yeah. Well, we'll see. This was my big problem with the Nintendo conference is it had a bunch of far off and
exactly.
low detail stuff, which is a little annoying, but super hype stuff on the other hand.
Speaking of that, Metroid Prime 4.
Holy
all they showed was a
shit.
fucking logo. Oh, I mean, it's got to be retro.
So
right?
like when we were doing like our crazy predictions and stuff, and I was like F-Zero sequel.
You
in
thought
my
Metroid
head
was too crazy.
In my head,
Yeah.
like it was like I could either make a joke about an F-Zero sequel or a Metroid Prime sequel. Which one will I choose?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But they're actually making Metroid Prime 4.
actually doing it.
It's been how many years?
A long fucking time.
13 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, like crazy long time. And yeah, hopefully it's dope as hell.
Anticipation is high.
Yeah.
Now, next thing we got, it's the year of the motherfucking Yoshi. I'm saying it right now.
Man.
We got a new Yoshi game.
This game looked kind of cool too.
They look kind of cool.
I really like the Yoshi art style. They went more with like was it Woolly World?
Kind of Woolly World, yeah.
Oh no, that was Kirby Woolly World, right?
There was a Woolly Kirby game and a Woolly Yoshi game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of like that, but yeah, it looked really sweet. It seems like it uses the Switch features.
Nice.
Kind of interesting ways.
Now, next we have is Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, this is made by Koei Tecmo, so it's kind of like Dynasty Warriors meets Fire Emblem.
Yeah, just like they did for Zelda the other time.
Exactly.
Apparently those games are really fun. I've never tried them, but
Yeah. Yeah, they look cool. Then next we have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild
it's
expansion
expanded on
pass.
some of the DLC stuffs.
Yep.
That they've planned for it.
Yeah, as we
Seems
saw
all right.
coming, looks cool. Then we got the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle game that I'm hyped on.
Everyone's
cool.
freaking exciting for this.
Yeah.
XCOM, Mario, and Rabbids.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like a lot of people are like, this is a really weird combination, but I've seen a few people like EMB actually in particular is like, my daughter and my mom are both really into Mario and Rabbids. There's a lot more crossover there than you would think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty sweet to see.
I find it interesting that they're going with this style of game because it looks like I feel like they're going to nail it because it's a Nintendo game, but like it looks like it's going to be simple at the beginning, but like it looks like it can get pretty complex, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Given the amount of elements that are going on there with a game like that. Like it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then next thing we have is Rocket League is coming to Switch, which is
There's
awesome.
so much excitement for that.
Yeah.
Just because of like being able to grab your Switch, go to your friend's house, play Rocket League together on your own screens, like stuff like
yeah.
that. It's going to be a fantastic multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Some of the like bigger YouTubers I've followed, like bringing my Switch to cons to play Rocket League with people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. I mean, Psyonix is just killing it, and they're just money.
Oh, yeah, all the money from that Rocket
They've done
League.
so well with
Man,
Rocket
it was
League.
just so funny how Rocket League started. It was just like, we're not sure how it's going to do. Let's try this new PlayStation free game program.
Yeah, exactly.
See how it turns out. And then it was like a fucking explosion.
Massive god, and it's interesting to see that studio who they now have more players than they've ever had, more active player base, and it just continues to grow.
Yeah.
And talk about a studio that found something, doubled down on it, and has been so active and so communicative with their community that like it's just they've gotten so much goodwill.
Nailing it too.
Oh yeah, just knocking it out of the park. Which especially because when the game launched and they got it on PS Plus, they got way more downloads than they ever anticipated getting.
Yeah.
So then everything was on fire,
Yeah.
basically, and server issues are down, and that could have
So
been
much
the
stuff
end of
they had
that
to make
game.
work.
But those guys put in the long nights. They put out all the fires the best they could.
Yeah.
And they rocked the fuck out of the communications.
Sony's still being the asshole though and not letting any crossplay.
And did you hear the reason as to why they said it, which is hilarious?
I know.
So regarding Rocket League and Minecraft, it's not available on Sony devices with regards to crossplay. And the reason that was given, which was like, I imagine just the PR people were like, oh my God, why would you say that?
Yeah.
What he said, I forget the individual said it. Anyway, what a Sony representative said was that they didn't want to subject younger players to an uncontrolled environment of things like that, which is like insinuating that, first of all, Nintendo doesn't
Nintendo
have a firm
platforms.
code.
Yeah.
You can't even chat with each other. And then to infer that Microsoft, doesn't have it on lock, like that's a douchey fucking thing to say. And I'm a Sony fanboy for life. Like, what the hell? Like, I would have accepted the answer of like, no, we don't feel like that's a good idea.
Yeah, and the other side of it too is like they don't control the content in the video games.
No.
They leave it to the developers to do those controls. It's not even a Sony thing. Like,
Yeah. So I think maybe it's just Sony being like, we don't want to, team up with a competitor like that. Like, at least
they're
own
just
up and say
segregating
it.
their own players.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly. So that's weird. So now we're seeing more Super Mario Odyssey gameplay here. The hat is a very big mechanic in this game.
this game looks so weird and interesting.
You can do body swapping, basically.
Yeah, like you throw your hats onto various things. There's a shit ton of things
Like
you can
even
take
a
control
T-Rex.
of. There's a fucking... It's a street lamp or something like that?
Yeah.
You control a street lamp and like you bend it back and then let go and get out of the street lamps and it flings Mario. Like, super cool mechanics like that. Like, there's so many ideas that they pumped into just that trailer. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty excited to play this game. It seems like really different.
Nice.
And the trailer had the song for the trailer was dope.
Yep.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was good. It reminded me very much of Mario Kart 8, actually. Like
Yeah.
kind of jazzy kind of feeling going on there. It was good. So that's what was out at E3. Anything else here? I mean, we're going a little long in the tooth on the E3 talk, Kev.
It's fine. It's the biggest time of the year.
It is the most wonderful
there's
time of the year.
Metroid Samus Returns, which is like 2D side-scroller type stuff. It doesn't look super Metroidvania-like, but it seems interesting nonetheless.
Yep. What else we got here?
Yakuza 6. It's the next Yakuza game.
Oh, woohoo.
It's funny because Yakuza 0 is still like kind of gaining popularity.
Yeah.
Even though it's been out for a long while.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, E3 is a big time. Probably we will have less of a topic, you know what I mean, next week. Like, it'll be more focused on the actual game, which is going to be good. So then going on from this, we have the Blizzard job posting causing rumors. Now, what is this, Kev? What's going on
There's
here?
multiple things going on here. First of all, they're hiring for some positions and they've been doing this for a while, for a retro game rejuvenation, remastering, and stuff. So it's like we saw with the StarCraft HD remake thing. But recently, their job posting has said, or specifically called out Warcraft 3 and Diablo 2.
Yeah, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's super cool. Getting like HD remasters of those games would be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Especially Warcraft 3. I was a huge fan.
You'd be really into that, eh?
Yeah. But there's some other job postings that they have on their site too. Eh?
Sneaky.
For an unannounced project.
What do you think?
So I was looking, and one thing I did see was first person.
Oh.
Which is, kind of interesting. So I don't think that really... It could maybe fit StarCraft.
Maybe.
But it doesn't line up to Warcraft.
Yeah.
And it doesn't line up to Diablo. They have Overwatch, but it's an unannounced thing, so it must be not Overwatch. So I'm kind of wondering if they're taking another stab at that first-person MMO that became Overwatch.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it was like something they tried to do for a long while and failed, and eventually made Overwatch out of the scraps.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I don't know, I guess they're still looking for first-person specialized people for an unannounced
shit.
game.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see something out of that, and it won't be for a long-ass time. Now, we also have IO Interactive, which we talked about, back in May. They got dropped by Squeenix.
Yeah.
And honestly, it seems like it's kind of working out for them because now they're fully independent. That's what they announced, and they have Hitman.
Yeah, they own Hitman. They're their own company.
Yes.
It's cool, and it sounds like they're going to try and run that way rather than like kind of selling to another owner.
Yeah.
And it was bought out by like the senior staff.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
So like they own their own company. So yeah, that's really cool. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah, I hope things work out well for that studio, and like, I don't know, man. I just hope they knock it out of the park with this next Hitman game, and like, they'll be in the money so tight. It'll be great.
Yeah, definitely.
More awesome Hitman games. I can fuck with that.
Yeah.
Now we also have the summer sale season is upon us.
We're getting into those times.
RIP wallets.
Yeah. So I think the Steam sale is rumored to start like
In a couple days. Actually, like
Or
the day
like-
this posts.
Yeah, or the day after, like something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really exciting. The GOG just had their sale.
Mhm.
I bought To the Moon
Yep.
during that.
You got it for like $2.
Yeah.
Or $1 or something. Yeah, it was
What else I
real
bought?
cheap.
Enter the Gungeon.
Yep.
I found out I already owned Faster Than Light, which I thought I didn't.
So there you go.
Yeah, I bought something else too, which I can't recall.
I don't know.
It was super cheap.
Nice.
Anyways. Yeah.
All the cheap games, get all the good deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Now, if we don't have anything else more to say, we're finally going to get on to our game of the week. Now, if you don't know this podcast, if you somehow didn't listen to the beginning and just hopped in right now, that's fine. We do a different game, indie game every single week. Now, next week, we're going to be doing, what is it called? Oh my gosh.
Banner Saga.
Banner Saga. But this week, in our game that we do, in our indie game of the week, this week, God, I can't talk. We're doing To the Moon, Kev. Now, To the Moon is developed by Freebird Games. It came out back in 2011, November 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, let me tell you. Now, this is
Wow,
interesting because this game was developed in RPG Maker XP engine.
RPG Maker's been out for a long fucking time. I remember like when I was like originally getting into Game Maker,
Yeah.
which at that point, I don't know if you guys even heard of Game Maker, but at that point it was a pet project of a university professor who was teaching game making classes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he made Game Maker as like a way to teach that, and like it was fairly mature whenever I started, but like
Yeah.
whenever people were like, I want to make an RPG in Game Maker, people were like, well, what do you want to do? You should probably just use RPG Maker instead.
Yeah, exactly.
It was kind of one of those original kind of like make your own game easily type engine things, and
Yeah.
there's quite a few games that have been made in it, and I think this is one of the larger ones.
It's really interesting hearing Ken Gao, who's the main head behind the game, really, and the main head who founded Freebird Studios back in 2007. They're a Canadian studio. Got to shout that out. And he said that it gets a bad rap because it's so accessible at the beginning, but it is surprisingly deep with what you can do with it.
Yeah.
We'll get into whether or not, I don't know. We have gripes and we have positives about this game, or I know I certainly do.
Yeah.
Now, it gained quite a bit of popularity through Let's Plays by popular YouTubers like PewDiePie, and I know Markiplier loved the shit of this game, and if you don't know about those guys, they definitely have less subscribers than us. That is totally a true fact. Now,
You can see them on trending sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, whatever. 40 million apiece or something stupid. So now, they currently are working on their upcoming game, which is Finding Paradise, which is also set in the same universe as To the Moon. And you actually play as the protagonist from their most recent game, 2014, A Bird Story. So it's all kind of in that shared universe, and that universe was kicked off by To the Moon. Now, Ken Gao, he's a man of many hats and trades, I guess. Is that a thing? Yes.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Yeah, man, he was heavily involved in this project. He was the primary director, the designer, composer, and illustrator. Now, we had other people working with him on it too, but from what I can read about this, he did all the music, which is like the music in this game is really good.
He had somebody helping him with the music.
Are you sure?
Yes. Positive.
Just the woman who sang the song. That's what I got from the interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
From my
I read
understanding-
some reviews, and from the sounds of it, it was a little more collaborative than that. but-
Oh, okay. My understanding was that he made it all, and then there was that one song.
Yeah.
And then, but maybe not. Maybe that's not the case. Correct me out there if you know the answer otherwise. He's also a big Animorphs fan, which ties into the game a little bit, actually. It's really cool. Now, let's get into this, Kev. Where do you come down on this game? Okay, so let's just... Let's
Where are we
just start
starting
it
on
off.
this one? Because there's a lot of things to talk about.
There's a lot of things to talk about. So now, what do you think of the art style here?
The art style it's really, really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few points in the game that like it kind of breaks down a little bit.
Yeah.
What I found really weird is near the ending it changed to the line drawing a couple times, and I was like, "What the fuck? This doesn't fit the rest of this really consistent art style."
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But there was an interesting kind of side effect that comes from this art style. Whenever you're doing very pixel-based games, you have this problem with resolutions.
Yes.
If you upscale the resolution, the game won't look the same because your pixels aren't square anymore.
I know exactly that
They're
part
now
you're thinking
blended.
about.
And, well, it's not necessarily part of the game, but it means for people playing the game, they're playing it at the resolution you chose.
Yeah.
Which for me means my mouse just fucking flew across the screen because it was low resolution.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I realized I totally just flubbed. We should probably go over what this game is a little bit too.
A little bit, yeah.
What this game is you play two characters, and you're kind of part of this team. Now I forget what the name of the organization is, but you're basically two doctors that you help people fulfill wishes before they die. Kind of like Children Make a Wish Foundation, but different.
Old people make a wish foundation.
Yes,
and pay a lot of money
it's people
to have
who are
that
about
wish
to
fulfilled.
die. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what they do is they go into people's memories and they alter the memories. And we're not going to do any spoilers until we say we're getting into spoilers of this game. But really, an interesting concept for sure. And they meet this man, and he says what he wants to do is go to the moon. And they're like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what you get to start off this game, basically.
Yeah.
And then you got to go through and kind of figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, you go into his like past memories and stuff and try and figure out where did this desire come from, and you have to try and link that desire and complete his wishes.
And do the stuff.
Yeah.
So that we have that out of the way, I really like the art style as well. Actually, I thought it was interesting, very Final Fantasy-like in a way.
Yep.
Which has that, it had that Game Maker look, and I was playing it because I fucked around with Game Maker a bit back in the day.
Yeah.
Or not Game Maker, RPG Maker, sorry. And I was like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of it. And then when I found it was made in it, I was like, shit, I did not know you could make a game this
Just large,
complex and large within it. But yeah, it was really interesting to see for sure. Now, another thing that really stands out to me, at least, is the music. The music in this game is on point.
Oh, it's great.
It's very good. So I was really into the music, really into everything like that. Now, we start to kind of get into some issues where you actually have to play the game.
Controls are a bit
There's some problems.
frustrating.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So we both played on PC, to be clear.
Yeah, and the suggested controls for it are like mouse-based, so you can kind of click to walk around.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes your character pathfind on their own, but you'll be really shocked by the paths they take sometimes, and sometimes they just stop walking.
Yeah. And
there's a few cases that it's consistent that they'll stop walking that you'll learn, but there's other times where it's just nope, no more walking.
Yeah, because I learned early on that if you, let's say, want to go somewhere and complete an action, then if there's a small staircase in the way, your character will stop after completing that small staircase.
Yeah.
And then there's some other ones where it's just your character will move into the wrong position and not perform the action because they're not close enough.
Yeah.
And there's just other really weird things like that.
Yeah, it's I don't know, there's some of the bigger staircases and doorways where you can just get sucked into them and forced to, like, your character will just walk up them. It's like, I didn't want to go that way.
Yeah, which is why I started using gamepad for a bit, and I was like, oh, I can't get into this at all. So I just clicked around the whole game.
Yeah, I used gamepad for the most part, but I don't know, it was still super frustrating. And one thing that, like, I just don't understand is, I know there's bushes and stuff on the ground, and realistically people would not walk over them.
Yeah.
But for fuck's sakes, just let my character walk over them.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's one thing to be realistic, it's the other thing to be, you know, a nice, smooth gameplay experience.
Like, what does this add to the game? Making me sidestep around every little thing.
Yeah, and it's like just crazy. There's so many times you have to take these super zigzaggy paths just to go the direction like the developer meant for you to go.
And then let's say you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to use my keyboard for controls. You put your hand down in that natural position that it rests, and you press W, nothing happens.
Yeah.
WASD, that doesn't work until much later in the game at one specific point.
It's used for something else. I think you can use the arrow keys to walk around.
Yeah, you can use the arrow keys to walk around, but yeah, WASD is used in the game at one specific point that we're probably going to get into later in spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really interesting control setup and design.
Yeah, the controller stuff was weird too.
Yeah.
The confirm/action button was the X button on my controller.
On an Xbox controller.
Yeah, that'd be a square on a PS4.
Yeah.
And
that's weird.
Yeah,
that's
it's a weird
placement.
button to use. Like I always
it's not even
A
Japanese
naturally.
style. It's Japanese style would be O or B on the
O
Xbox
or B,
controller.
yeah. Yeah, it was super weird. And then B brings up the pause menu.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, which is really weird. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. So now we got to go into the story stuff next. So before we get into any of that, you know, would you recommend this game to someone before we get into any spoilers? Oh, geez, long pause.
I don't know.
Long pause. Okay.
I don't know. If somebody was like really craving a story and I'd ran out of other game recommendations,
okay,
then yes.
Yeah.
But with the caveat that, you know, this game can be a little bit frustrating.
It definitely can be a little bit
slog.
frustrating, and I think it's limited by the engine that it's made in. That's the only conclusion I can make, because there are some really weird control and design decisions in this game where I'm like, why would you do this unless you're limited?
Like, it could have been improved, like with what I was saying with like stuff that could or cannot be walked over. Like, he has control over that. And he chose to make it very limited.
Yeah, so I don't know. There were definitely some interesting things there. I think the overall story does tie it together in the end, but there's a lot of other games that fit that time frame and that price point that I would definitely recommend more.
Yeah.
But it does hit you in the heart a little bit, and it provides a cute story.
Yep.
It's the best way I got. So now we're going into spoiler territory about it all.
Yeah, it's a big story game, so we're going to have to go over the story.
Now we're into the spoilers. Okay, Kev, so now where do you stand on this story? Where are you coming down on here?
The story, main story arc thing I enjoyed. It was interesting.
Yeah.
There was one spot in the arc, I'll talk about a bit more later, that I felt could have been explored more deeply. But other than that, like, I felt like, you know, the main story was actually pretty good. My biggest problem with the writing side of it was the fucking dialogue.
The dialogue was terrible, especially between your two main characters, which are Neil Watts and I forget the other girl's name, Ava something. Rodriguez, maybe? Or
no.
It's
another
name-ish
thing. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Oh no, Rosaline or something, or Rosine, or
her last name is something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And the Ava character I could get by with, kind of, but it felt like whenever I was trying to get emotionally invested in the story of Johnny, fucking Neil Watts would just come up with some stupid joke, and I'd be like, I get that they're trying to go with the another day, another job kind of thing with these guys where they see all this shit every day, but I don't see this shit every day, you know, like, you're the person I'm controlling. I want to be able to relate to you, and I can't.
Yeah.
You know, you're cynical about your job where you're dealing with someone's deepest emotions of love and everything like that, and you're just like, this old fucker. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when they show up at the guy grieving about his wife, he's like, what's your name? Lorenzo von Matterhorn. Like, How I
Yeah.
Met Your Mother fourth wall breaking joke that just jumps out at you and just totally rips you away from the moment, and just, there's no suspension of disbelief here anymore, you know, when you have a character directly addressing you like that. I feel
think like it was intended for like a little bit of levity, just to lighten the mood a little bit, but
I
if
don't
you're
think
wanting
it was
to do,
executed
I
well.
understand wanting to do that, but not every fucking second line that your main or one of your two main characters says. Like,
I feel like if I were to try and write a game, I think this is what I would come up with. And like, I think he's better than me, sure, but like, as far as like, if I let myself run wild, and like, you think
you just
jokes,
wrote dialogue and then
you think jokes are funny because they're a reference to something or something like that, but like, it doesn't play well to the character, and I feel like maybe he didn't take a lot of time into fleshing out these two characters that you have to play as.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I can definitely see the influences of like like an X-Files, like a Scully and Mulder kind of thing going on there. Like, I see that, but it misses the mark, which is unfortunate because the story between Johnny and River is so interesting.
Yeah, and like, the Johnny Rivers story is such like a deep emotional tone, and these other characters are just completely shattering that tone.
I want to see if you took away
often
from this what I took away from it, which I mean, I think is the only way to take away from it. River has autism. That's what's going on there.
Yeah, I think that's what they were getting at, and I don't know. It's weird because like they kind of dropped it a little bit.
They did, yeah, but she was still always kind of like that, right? Like, yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I think it was like a rather mature take.
Yeah,
on it. Like I kind of wished, they called it out a little bit more. Or like,
well, they kind of did when Isabella or Isabel, your character or Johnny's friend's wife, was talking about it and how she had been diagnosed at a young age, or at an older age actually, and Isabella had it as well, but she was diagnosed at a much younger age, so she had learned to not cope with it but hide it, almost like an actor.
Yeah.
Whereas River hadn't, and that's the way she's always been, and then someone told her about it, and then it's like, oh, that's what's going on. Now the weird part about it that makes me think, like, I feel like it is autism, but he added in the caveat that it also kills you, I think, because she was then diagnosed, and then that's what ended up killing her.
Yeah, like she needed medication or stuff for it. And it seemed like a parallel of like some sort of mental health type thing like autism, but also like specific to this world. Yeah, a little bit too, because like there was another kind of line that's like, oh, usually it's like just men that get this. It's weird to see a woman with it, which isn't the case for autism. I think it does have a male slant or something like that, but it's not something that's like rare to see in a female. Which it was in this game. So like it felt like this. It's kind of like its own world kind of take on a disease.
Yeah, and it was nice and kind of heartbreaking to see Johnny just be like, I just want to help you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
I think what I really missed from it is Johnny, or like a bit of story of Johnny accepting that. Yeah. Like, there's stuff about him early on just finding it like interesting, and her being different being interesting, but nothing past that. And like, I think it's good that they showed the other characters dancing around it and being like, oh, I don't want to like... kind of like a he who must not be named type thing. Like they don't want to like
they don't want to bring it up.
Or call it out like specifically and address it for what it is. But I think I would have liked to see Johnny, the one closest to River, actually like own it and be like, yeah, this is.
I'd say the closest we came to that was whenever he was in the movie. And he was watching the movie, and then he's like, fuck, she didn't show up. And he goes outside, and then you check all around, she's not there. And then she comes out of the movie theater, and she's like, we're watching the movie together. He thought he was there by himself, right? Yeah. And then he just starts laughing, and he's like, you're hilarious. Like, who would do that? You know what I mean? Like, well, what does it matter if we're not sitting directly beside each other? We're still watching it together. Yeah. So he, I think that's what I took away from that, of him, like, accepting it, being like, okay, this is what this is. That's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there was, it's one thing for it was like, that was our first date, but like, there's really not any in between for that marriage. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this woman with this, mental disease or whatever.
Right. And so the way, I guess we didn't describe it, but you basically go back through his memories and you start going back to...
Backwards, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like an Inception thing where you want to implant the idea that he wants to do this in his mind.
Well, eventually. First, you're just trying to find where he got the idea of going to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually you couldn't find it, so you're like...
Fuck, we'll just implant something.
Well, we'll just try, and like, oh, that didn't work, so I guess we'll just try and make him want to go to the moon.
Yeah, and I actually, as much as it was so campy and it was so TV show, like, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, like the go to space. Hey, we're from NASA. Go to space.
Oh, yeah. That was the part where the humor kind of paid off a little bit better.
I thought that was funny.
How that ended was... not so fantastic. And I guess we should get into this part because this is kind of like a turning point in the game.
Oh,
where it's like it's not working, and Eva is just like, I'm just going to take this under control now. And she goes off and does her own thing. And
well, actually, that's I think you're jumping a part here.
Am I?
Yeah, because we discover that they can't go back to his earlier memories because there's some beta blockers involved. So then they end up going in past that point from the smell of some dead rodent. Anyway,
yeah, they remind him of the blocked memories.
Yep. So then they go back in there and discover that he actually had a twin brother, and the twin brother died, and doctors try to suppress that memory within him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what changed his personality around a bunch of things, because he was like this one way, but then after his brother died, he took on characteristics of his brother and kind of became an amalgam of the two.
Yeah.
And within that, before his brother died, like a couple days before, we have him meeting River.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really sweet way that they meet,
sweet,
So they're at a fair or whatever.
Yeah, a fair thing, and they kind of... neither of them are really digging it so much.
Yeah.
Like her mom, or Johnny's mom is giving his brother Joey way more attention.
Yeah.
And, Johnny's not getting what he wants, so he just kind of goes off on his own and kind of finds this little cliff overlook spot with a bench. And and then River comes, and she's like, oh shit, someone else is here, and this is my spot. And Johnny's like, oh no, come join me. And they end up talking and being really sweet and stuff. And then it's like, oh, we'll see you next year. And it's like, yeah, well, what if I can't find you? And it's like, well, we'll meet on the moon.
Yeah, which was the most adorable part, because throughout the whole game, she'd been making these rabbits.
Yeah.
Out of
paper.
Out of
origami
paper.
rabbits.
Yeah, origami rabbits again and again. And I thought it was related to the dead rabbit roadkill.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why is that such a thing? But then you discovered that they were looking up at the sky, and she's like, I see a rabbit in the sky.
Yeah.
And he's like, I see it too. And the moon is his belly, and we'll meet right on the belly of the rabbit in the moon. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, that's fucking, wow.
Yeah.
So then we get that information, and then your character, one of the doctors, Rosalie, so then this is the part you're going to get into next.
Yeah, so just to connect how that all happens is then after Joey dies, Johnny takes or gets fed some beta blockers to block out the memories of his brother. Yep. And completely forgets ever meeting River. Yeah. Basically, but then ends up meeting her later on, but River still remembers those things, and I guess it's because of, the autism-like disease she has. She can't be like, hey...
She can't straight up tell him.
Don't you remember this? She was trying to remind him.
Yeah, she was like, look at this bunny. What do you see? You know what I mean? And doing things like that. Of we're going to be near this lighthouse because lighthouses are like stars to her, Yeah. Live here. This means something to you. Yeah. Yeah.
And he never quite remembered.
No. So then in steps the doctor, making a pretty bold decision.
Yeah, so basically the doctor's like, well, if the motivation behind that was, if he lost the memory because he lost Joey, and the motivation behind it was to meet River again, then let's get rid of River.
Yeah, which is basically what she did. And the other doctor, and it's an interesting flip that they did on this, where the doctor that was so calloused and emotionless about the whole process was like, whoa, we can't fucking do this. That's
is too far.
Okay.
I know this is their job, but you can't just erase this woman's...
Yeah, obviously this woman made
memory.
him very happy. This was the love of his life.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to him? But, the other doctor was like, well, this is literally what he signed for, so we're just giving him what he asked for. Kind of like the devil's deal. You know what I mean? This is literally what you asked for. So they start doing that, and then that's when things get weird.
Yeah, well, it's one of the parts that I wish they kind of dig deeper in. So I guess the kind of surprise from that is that she also went back in time and saved the brother.
Yes.
And like, I thought there was this really interesting question come up. It's like, hey, do you want to live your life with your brother or the love of your life?
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of made that like a very binary choice, and like that's a horrible choice.
That's a terrible choice
to have to make. Like, I thought that's where they were going with it. I thought they were going to dive deep on that.
Yeah, but they didn't.
No, what ended up happening is that she didn't actually remove River. Yeah, she just moved.
Yeah, exactly.
Her, and they ended up meeting again when they both went to work at NASA.
Yeah, which I don't know. It's like so cliche romantic, but like it was pretty.
I
cute,
think it fit. Like, you could. Yeah, I think it kind of fit. It sucked for me that it kind of just gave up in the whole.
Yeah.
Losing one or the other kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Aspect that it could have taken, but on the other hand, he accomplished like a dream that became his, and him and his brother became really successful.
Yeah, his brother became successful, and which was interesting too is his brother made his success primarily off of Johnny.
Yeah.
For the most part, because he wrote a book, and the book was To the Moon, and it's about Johnny's desire to go to the moon to meet this girl. Yeah. And then they both end up meeting, and the song that played when he's writing his letter just to NASA, like that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Ninjas were cutting onions in my room, man. So that was really nice. And then you get this moment where you then get to watch Johnny and River, and they go off into the moon on their spaceship. And what then is interesting to me is, so did that actually happen, or is that just altering the memories of Johnny?
So Johnny just had memories of that happening.
Okay, that didn't actually happen.
Yeah,
in
they
the
didn't
real
change
world.
reality.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going on. So then the real fuckery that they give you at the end is like, sure, we're going to go to another place. And then your doctors are packing up, good to go. And then just like when the heartbeat changes in the dream world, you get a little whoop, you get a little Inception flip on you where you get the beep like you're in the dream world, but it's supposed to be the real world. And it's like, what's the dream world or the real world here?
Well, yeah, and the doctor takes medicine.
Yeah.
I think is what happened. So it's like, is he inside his own memories?
What's going on here?
Yeah, so that's what I took from it, is like he's inside his own memories.
Shit, I didn't even think of that.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I took that.
So you're reliving his old memories.
Yeah, and then after that, it's like
game
to be continued or something. There's more to this story.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Did they cover that in a Bird story?
I don't know. I didn't play it. It's a different character that's not super related to the two characters that you play in the first game.
Yeah.
But there is some tie-in.
Yeah.
And so it's in the same universe. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's a sweet story in the end. It's definitely it's protagonists, if you're gonna call them that. The characters that you play as suck.
Yeah.
There's not much redeeming about them.
Yeah, there's not much redeeming about almost any of the dialogue. River was pretty fine. You can tell she's kind of distant and kind of like looking into the distant, like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And Johnny, seemed kind of caring, but also kind of calloused just from all the things he's had to experience.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool to see how the things started to take place. Like, you look at his clocks and it's like, it's a silenced clock. Why the hell does he have a silenced clock? But then you go back to when she's getting diagnosed, and he even talks to the person at the counter. He's like, can you please shut this clock up? Like, it doesn't work for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, just other little things like that, like you start to see how these come into place.
Yeah, that's where the storytelling's done well, but the dialogue side, like, no other character other than like the main characters of the story, like those four main characters, have like a voice to them at all.
No, absolutely.
Like, it's just the most generic written dialogue you could imagine.
Yeah.
And it kind of does make the world feel a little bland at times.
I mean, I think the mother, Lily or whatever, had some interesting things to say to a point. When you asked her a couple questions.
Mostly that she's like going crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, wait. Oh, you're thinking of the other mother. I'm thinking of the mother of the two kids that are living in the mansion.
Oh, yeah, the servant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Servant.
Servant. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't she had some kind of interesting things to say, an interesting perspective, but still not written in an interesting way at all.
Yeah, it just wasn't
It was
fleshed
still
out
very bland.
much. Yeah, because
bland
what happened with
character.
her was that her husband died over in the war, basically, and that she didn't know where to go, what to do. So then he ended up taking her in, and then she ended up getting money from her husband dying so that she was able to sustain herself and just fine, but she ended up sticking around. And in the end of it all, for some reason, Johnny gives her his house.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the end of that. And it carries on from there. But yeah, it was good. It was sweet. Had a lot of feels to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit those feelings.
Hit the feelings
The
right in the
heartstrings.
dick.
I don't know. I don't think it was like the most feels heavy game.
No,
played,
I
but
thought it was going to be more feels heavy, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for. But it wasn't. I feel like...
I think it was because it slow rolled those emotions.
Yeah,
a little
it's
bit.
slower. Oh, we didn't even talk about, like, I think one of the highlights as far as comedy goes in the game, where, okay, so an animal attacks, and then the battle music starts, and you're like...
Oh, yeah, because the kids are like,
Yeah,
I don't
the
think you can roleplay, and she's like, I can roleplay, and she pretends to, like, RPG fight against... But that was another, like, fourth wall thing, and, like...
I thought it was funny, man, because...
Kind of funny, but in the context of the game, like...
I was just
Weird.
walking by, the squirrel jumped out at us, and then my character, I'm like, that's it, I'm going to punch this squirrel. So I go over to punch it, and they're like, what the fuck? That's animal abuse. What the hell's wrong with you? You're gonna get my mom to call, and you're going to go to jail? And it's like, shit, okay, yeah.
I was roleplaying.
But it sets up this concept of, it being a grounded world. But then when they're constantly doing nods at you like that, like, I don't know, I feel like it tries to undermine itself at every turn. And because the story of Johnny and River is so endearing, it somehow skates
There's
by.
so many dialogue things that are just like, this story's silly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's so many, like, calling out its own story type thing, or it's, don't do that.
Yeah. Like, even at the end, when it's like, you're exploring NASA and everything, it's like, boy, these are small elevators. Who cares? Or like, oh man, the top and bottom of that rocket look really cool because it wasn't showing the top and bottom
that
of the
part,
rocket.
like, oh
It's so
my god, that
stupid.
annoyed me so much. Yeah, it like just draws a window showing the middle of the rocket. It's like, man, it real sucks for people who can't see the top or the bottom of this rocket. They're real nice looking.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh.
why? I understand being self-aware and that, you can't do all the art in the game at all times. Maybe they couldn't draw that out or whatever. But like, I don't have any emotional attachment to that. Like, I'm sure it'd be funny.
I was about to find out if Johnny succeeded in getting, like, fulfilling his dreams. Don't joke about that at that time.
Like, it's not what I want to hear at this moment. I'm invested in the story. Quit it with the jokes.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, man. It's like watching a really sad movie or watching the final moment pay out and then a character's like, hey, isn't this funny? It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's the character you're playing as. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel like it represents how I feel as a player at all.
Yeah. I don't know, like, fourth wall is just really not a great way to do comedy. I think, like, the only good example I think anyone has ever seen of it. Well, like, Deadpool does it well. It's like the whole character shtick, and it, like, nails that all the time. And it's like, hey, there's this very specific niche for it.
Exactly.
Deadpool fulfills that, but in, like, a story that's trying to do its own thing and has a successful fourth wall joke is the very end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're still there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, this is after all the story is done. That's the only way they could make a fourth wall joke work in a movie.
Yeah, well, he does do a couple. I mean, he talks to the camera, right?
Yeah, well, it's,
but like, that's just his thing.
Well, it's narrator style thing.
Exactly.
That's kind of more like Shakespearean type play type stuff.
But he's not acknowledging you, the audience,
yeah.
in per se. So yeah, it doesn't get in the way of itself, whereas this definitely does.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope we see that addressed in a better way in the newest game coming out.
Yeah.
And I may pick up a Bird story, but I'm not going to go out of my way for it.
Yeah, not rushing for it.
To be honest, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's how we feel about this game. Let us know how you feel about it if you decided to play it down in the comments there. You can leave a review on the iTunes and the Google Plays, everything like that.
Yeah.
Next week, we are going to be playing Banner Saga. So, get on top of that if you want. It's got like, what is it? It's like an RTS game or no?
Not
No, it's
RTS.
not.
Turn-based strategy.
Yeah, turn-based strategy game. Looks really cool. Beautiful art style made from some ex-Bioware guys, if I remember correctly. Looks sweet. Really excited to play it and get into that. Anyway, folks, this has been Namecast this week. I'm also going to let you know that if you aren't already, maybe try following us on Twitter, because that's where we post all our updates about things if videos aren't coming out.
Yeah, we are on
Or
Twitter.
anything. Yeah, we are on Twitter at NamecastYT. So that is at NamecastYT, and that is us there. I can't think of anything else more to say. If you're not already subscribed, consider doing that. And if you want to share it off to friends, we're youtube.com/Namecast.
Woo.
Oh, that feels so good to say.
Doesn't it?
Anyway, folks, we're going to take off, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And, help us take down Bonus Barrel.
Woo. See ya.
Still a thing.
Short steps, deep breath. Everything is alright. Chin up, I can't step into the spotlight. She said, I'm sad, somehow without any words. I just stood there, searching for an answer. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind. If you're with me, then everything's alright. Why do my words always lose their meaning? I feel what I say, there's such a rift between them. He said, I can't really seem to read you. I just stood there, never know what I should do. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind. If you're with me, then everything's alright. If you're with me, then everything